I grew up in a family that didn't process hard emotions, and the tendency was to sweep them under the rug. Now that I am a parent, how can I break this cycle and help my children learn to process hard emotions rather than avoid them?
That's a great thing that you realize that. So that tells me a lot about where you're at. And so
Mm,
then I'm assuming that you're comfortable with your own emotions. And if you're not, you need to do that first because it will be hard to do what I'm going to suggest next. And so one of the most powerful friendship relation skill is called, some call it empathy, I call it attunement, where if someone shares that, I lost my dog and we were really close and I really miss him, that you would say, well, I can tell how sad that is for you, um, and how kind of lonely. Attunement focuses on what emotion you see in the other person.
okay.
And all you do is you just say that emotion, um, often in different words than they use, so they can feel the natural flow of this. And so, so you just watch and catch your children in different emotional states, which will not be hard to do. And
Yes.
so you just reflect back of you're really upset,
Mm,
because I've asked you to make sure your room is clean. You're really sad that your brother won't play with you.
mm,
And then they will naturally start to talk about their emotions. Yes, I really like my brother and I feel like he doesn't like me when he plays. Do not fix,
okay.
do not give advice, okay? Because it will work itself out. So don't say, well, he really does love you. Then they don't feel the connection, okay? And so
Mm,
what they will do is they won't share the feelings because you then basically are saying, don't feel that way by saying, he really
okay.
feels. Um, you say, um, their feelings are reality to them. And you say, I know that's really disappointing that he doesn't want to play with you. And it feels like he doesn't like you. And that's kind of hard because you really like him. And so he will, then say, "Yeah, I do. And when we play this, this, and this, it's really fun. I know it really is. When
Mm,
you're out in the slide with him, you guys are laughing. Yeah, you're right. And then all of a sudden they'll say, I'm hungry. What can I go eat? All of a sudden they get enough connection.
mm,
They're okay.
I
If
see.
you go, I might even send this link to you. There is a episode in the movie Inside Out where
Mm,
sadness and joy are coming alongside. I think it's Billabong when all his stuff was pushed over.
yeah.
Joy's giving advice, but sad. And so Billabong, it's, got to get to the train. And sadness just sits there and it says, yeah, that's awful. That's awful. And then all of a sudden Billabong says, okay, let's go to the train. That is that's a great clip. If you just Google on YouTube, just go on YouTube, Billabong, sadness and joy, it'll come
Mm,
up. So that is the most powerful way is you catch them in those different feelings and you just listen and you don't solve. Okay.
mm,
Um, at the end of some of those, you you can say, well, next time, maybe if you try this, and it's all tentative, um, and then it goes off of, "Oh, I already did that." So it's really hard, isn't it? And then they just need to have a place to be understood. So, um, that will allow them that feelings are safe. Mom and dad are okay with that. So for me, I also look for the bad feelings. They're angry,
Mm,
they're hateful, they mess up, and so I need to draw into those feelings so they know negative feelings are okay also. Well, my daughter, she was the youngest, and she was, I've got to be the good kid,
mm,
and so I'm always looking for ways so she can feel you're okay even if you aren't a good kid. And
mm.
so she didn't give me too many opportunities because she was a great student, great athlete, all of that. One day she was at a junior high football game, and someone had these laser pin things and they were shining it on the field, and they passed it down, and then it got to her and she had it, and the referee for some reason stopped the whole game, pointed to her and said, "You're out." I happened to be at home, so she comes home crying, and I'm saying, "This is my chance." And I
Finally.
I said, "That must have been so embarrassing." Instead of, the other part of me is, "What were you thinking? Don't you realize next time you got to know you don't even, you just don't even see, all that would reinforce the other performance. You got to be good."
I see.
And so, that's embarrassing. I know you're really sad that, you know, it looks like you're this bad kid and everyone thinks you're this bad kid because you got kicked out of the game. And that's a really hard place to be. So she would then be a little bit easier at sharing negative feelings with me. So,
No, I really appreciate that. It seems like really, to help kids process, like, or to help them feel comfortable really
mhm,
processing hard emotions. It's really about like helping them to identify and
yes.
not fixing,
Yep.
but um which I think is hard for me. I think, as a parent, a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, I did the identifying, so now I'm going to fix it because we
Yeah.
identified it already.
Mhm.
But really just stopping there. And it sounded, and kind of going back to even our talk about boundaries between parent and child, it sounds like that really helps to kind of build up that own child's resilience and their own sense of identity, even within their own
Yeah.
emotions.
So you're catching on really well. You're going to move from the interviewer to counselor pretty soon. So you're absolutely right. It does all those things that you mentioned.
Yeah, and I really like that piece too about not being caught off guard when kids, you're talking, on something like, "Oh yeah, I'm hungry." I'm like, because my son does that a lot. He's 5.5, and sometimes I'm like, "Wait, did I say the wrong thing? Is he cutting me off?" I feel like as adults we do that. We're kind of like, "Okay, you're right.
Mhm.
We're just done talking." But
Yeah.
really, kind of what you talked about, it's like their brain processed and they're
Yeah.
ready to
Mhm.
move on. Like they're not concerned
As,
anymore. That's kind of
as
a good
long
sign.
as you were tuning. If you're not attuning, it is, "I'm tired of getting all the advice. I'm getting the heck out of here." So, and a lot of kids will do that. It's like, yeah, they're not listening and I'm out. But when you're tuned, it's a good thing.